Whether our last session happened on December 31st, which is fourth session. So there we have taken introduction to the ADF. What are the different versions into that? What additional features are added into version 2, which is data flows and Power Query. And finally, we stepped into the ADF and we started discussion of ADF building blocks. So basically, those are the five basic, that means the main components of your ADF pipelines. So in a high level, that is a pipeline. As a ADF developer, you have to create your pipelines. And within the pipeline, activities will be there. Under activities are going to work with the data. That's why to work with data, you need to create data sets. But to create data sets, the prerequisite is linked service. A linked service is a connection string. Again, to create a linked service, you need integration runtime. That integration runtime is a prerequisite to linked service. Without that, you cannot create your linked services. Okay. So already I thought I shared that fourth session recording also. Today a small session, which is the final session for our theory. And tomorrow onwards, we are going to start working with our ADF and related components. Okay. The first one, the pending one in our session 5. The pending one is integration runtime. Actually, integration runtimes are acting like a data transporters between one Azure service to other Azure service. That means one Azure storage to other Azure or non-Azure storage. Okay, that means like integration between different storages, you can say, is an integration. And data transporter. Between different storages. Example, on-premise to Azure Data Lake, or Azure Data Lake to Azure Synapse. Okay, or else Azure Synapse to SOHAS. Okay. Azure Synapse to maybe other different storage like again on-premise database. It can be affiliate. Everything is a different storage, but with different storage, it is acting as an integration plugin and data transporter. Transporter. Okay. So this is actually the role of integration runtime. But in Azure, you have three types of integration runtimes. Three types of integration runtimes. Number one, auto integration runtime. And number two, self-hosted. Integration runtime. Number three, SSIS integration runtime. Simply, I'm using shortcut word, which is IR. In this way, we have three major integration runtimes. But when to use what type of integration runtime, the clarity is important to you. Okay. So first, I am going to talk about first one, which is auto integration runtime. 1 minute. So here projector is off for the classroom people. 1 minute. It is on. That is on. Already on. Here's something. connection. Okay, you people just sit besides me. Come this side without sound, please. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So number one, auto integration runtime. I'm going to take that one. When to use auto integration runtime is if storage is part of Azure services. If storage is part of Azure service. Azure services, let's say Azure services, because Azure has many storage services here. Example, I'm taking Azure data lake, maybe Gen 1 or Gen 2. This is one of the part of Azure service. Or else you take Azure Synapse. This is also part of Azure. And Azure Cosmos, a part of Azure. Okay. Even Azure SQL. Azure SQL is also part of Azure. All these things, all the storages, all these are the different storages in our Azure cloud, but all these are the part of Azure services. If your storage object is within Azure service, you have to use auto integration runtime. Understand? A small example for this. I want to copy data from Azure Data Lake to Azure Synapse. So to work with these things, so what is the general process? First of all, you have to create linked service. One linked service for Azure Data Lake storage account and one linked service for Azure Synapse DB. Okay. But to create that linked services, you have to use integration runtime. The integration runtime should be auto integration runtime because Azure Data Lake is part of Azure services. Azure Synapse is also part of Azure services. Understood? Okay. So in this example, both storages are part of Azure services. So to create linked services, we should use auto integration runtime. Auto integration runtime. So we need not to create anything. We need not to download anything automatically. Already whenever you have account in the Azure, Microsoft is providing you one predefined auto integration runtime for you. Simply you have to select that name. The name will be like this: auto resolving integration runtime. With that name, the auto integration runtime is available. Got it. But second, if you come to the second one, which is self-hosted, when you have to use this one, a simple clarity, if storage is not part of Azure services, opposite. Okay, I write the same thing. If storage is not part of Azure services, then you have to go for the self-hosted integration runtime. What is the example for this? Local or remote files, or database, on-premise databases. I'm sorry. On-premise databases, even non-premise NoSQL databases. Etc. So these are the things comes under self-hosted. So out of all these storages are out of Azure services. So whenever you want to work with them, you have to create a linked service. But to create linked service, you have to use self-hosted integration runtime. Okay, observe this example. Now, I want to upload data from Oracle table to Azure Data Lake. Now, what are the steps we need to follow? The step one. Create integration runtime for Oracle. Why? Because it is not part of Azure. Create integration runtime for Oracle, which is on-premise. So here I have to use self-hosted integration runtime. After that, step two, you will be create linked service for Oracle database. Okay. Then step three. Create directly linked service for Azure Data Lake. Because you need not to create auto integration runtime. Just use auto integration runtime while creating a linked service for your data lake storage account. Simply auto IR I am saying. So, but for Oracle I am using self-hosted, but for the linked service of Azure Data Lake I am using existed one which is predefined, which is auto IR. Remaining step 4, create dataset for Oracle. Step 5, create dataset for Azure Data Lake file or container. And step 6, design a pipeline. Use copy activity. Step 7, run the pipeline. Got it. So this is the purpose of self-hosted integration runtime. Simply remember, small clarity, if storage is part of Azure services, use auto integration runtime. If storage is out of Azure, maybe on-premise or in other cloud also. Okay, whatever it may be, you have to use self-hosted integration runtime, which is out of Azure services. Okay. See, the next one, finally, SSIS integration runtime. SSIS integration runtime. SSIS stands for SQL Server Integration Services. That is data integration services. So is a part of MSBI, Microsoft Business Intelligence Suite. Microsoft has previously one on-premise ETL tool, that is SSIS. Suppose a small example, how you have pipelines in ADF, in SSIS you have packages. You will be creating packages, SSIS packages. Suppose for the past 3 years, your client was using and have developed their pipelines in SSIS, data pipelines for ETL activities in SSIS. Think that they have already existed 350 pipelines. Now, because of on-premise cost data, because of on-premise data center maintenance cost, server maintenance cost, at the same time, more data volume is involving. That's why nowadays they could not able to run all the pipelines in the on-premise on their new data. That's why your client decided to migrate all these packages to cloud, the two in ADF. Suppose if he decided like that, already has 350 pipelines, but in SSIS, all the pipelines, again, they have to redevelop. But what is a time and cost of redeveloping all the 350 pipelines into the ADF? Again, it will take a lot of time with a lot of team. The money budget will be also very high. Instead of doing that, already they have existed pipelines. in SSIS, these pipelines tomorrow onwards, they should run on ADF without redeveloping. Understood? They want to migrate existed SSIS pipelines into the ADF. At that time, you have to use SSIS integration runtime. Okay, that means what is your answer when to use SSIS means to migrate and run existed SSIS packages in Azure ADF. That means in Azure Data Factory, without having to redeveloping those packages again. Okay, without having to redevelop. Only data sets will be changed, but pipeline is same. Understand? So on that way, so on that case only you have to use SSIR. Once again, a quick summary of these three types. There are three types. What is number one? Auto IR, auto integration runtime. Number two, self-hosted. Self-hosted IR, self-hosted integration runtime. Number three, which is last one, SSIS IR. When to use what? If storage is part of Azure services. If storage is not part of Azure services, then you have to go to self-hosted. In the case of third one, to migrate existed SAS packages to cloud without having to read all of those packages. So these are the things. Again, come back to our what you call final building blocks now. Now you tell me what is a high level you have to create. What is a high level component that you have to create? Pipeline. Pipeline is what? What is the meaning of a pipeline? It's a set of sequence of activities. Then what is activity? Within the pipeline, activities will be there. What is activity? Activity is an operation on the data. Okay, doing some operation on the data. That is what activity. The activity can be reading data or performing some transformation, applying the filters or sorting. It can be of anything. Okay. So, but activities are working with data. To work with data, you need data sets. The definition for data set is simply a snapshot or alias of physical data object. But to create these data sets, you need of linked services. What is a linked service? Linked service is a connection string. Okay. Just like you can compare with URI, Uniform Resource Identifier, is a connection string to connect with the proper data storage account or proper database. Again, to create that linked service, you need integration runtime. Integration runtime. That is another concept. Integration runtime. So here I am based. There are three types of integration runtimes already I explained. Auto IR, self-hosted, SSIS. Okay. So these are the basic components of your ADF. So finally, we are going to work with these 5 components. That means 5 building blocks. But within these things, many things will be there. Even without having to write any code, you can develop a lot of complex functionalities, even complex pipelines that you can define. That is the power of the ADF. You can say is a code-free ETL. But you should not say it as a ETL. It is a ELT, extract, load, and then transfer. Because you are going to deal with big volumes of data. Okay. Yes, sir. Tomorrow onwards, the practical part will be started. Okay. First, once I have done with the Azure and created the resource groups within that, for your batch, as a first subject, I am going to start about Azure Synapse Analytics. Okay. Finally, because in the ADF, almost all the cases as a target, Azure Synapse we will be using. Okay. So first, some basic understanding, basic practical work of the Azure Synapse is done, and then we will be starting with your actual ADF. So tomorrow onwards, I am going to start with Azure Synapse. So maybe first 1 week completely we will be working with Synapse. After that, we will be going to other components. Totally 4 components as part of this course will be covered for you. Number 1 is Azure SQL. Number 2 is Azure Data Lake complete. Because the data within the data lake, there are different types of storage objects will be there, like blobs, file shapes, tables, queues. When to use what, that clarity is important, and how to use them you should know practically. Okay, so that's why like Azure data, all these things are very important for your certifications and also for interviews also, and also for working also. Okay, and Azure Data Factory and Azure Synapse. As part of your Azure Data Factory course, you will be learning these 4 courses. Only alone, I know only Azure Data Factory means industry won't take you, sir. You should know the remaining flavors. Okay. So without Synapse, if you go for any ADF interview, 50% of questions will be on Azure Synapse. Okay, 50% of questions will be on Azure Data Factory. Of course, on the data lake about Azure SQL, just 1 or 2 questions. That's it, more than that. Not more than that. Okay, majority 50% ADF, 50% Synapse. These 2 things you should know. Okay. Okay, sir. Let's see tomorrow session. Once base work is started. Imran, you are asking something. Access to Azure app. Just you have to create your account. You just have to create your account with the credit card. Credit card is mandatory. Previously, some 2 to 3 months back, it was accepting. Mr. Sushant, even I unmuted you, the voice is not audible. That's why anything you please chat for today. I'm stopping the recording. At tomorrow's session, we will be starting with Azure Synapse. Already to some of the people I have shared the content. Still, if you need the content, so first let me speak here. I'm reading your questions. So first question by Mr. Imran is access to Azure app. So access to Azure app means you have to create your account in the Azure set. So with the credit card, you have to create your Azure account. Initially, they give you around, for Indians, around 14,000 rupees, some change of credits. Initially, 1 or 2 rupees will be cut off. After that, again, that will be revert back to you. Okay, almost more than 1 month that you can use that account. Once that account got expired, you have to create with other account, with other card and other email ID. Otherwise, you have to convert that into pay-as-you-go model. At the time of taking subscription, it will ask you 2 things. 2 options you have. One is a free trial. Second one is pay-as-you-go. No need to go for the pay-as-you-go model because we are not working with enterprise data. Okay, you can go as pay-as-you-go model. Sorry, free trial. Okay, let me check Sushant questions. Sushant, Snowflake to Azure. Yes, Snowflake to Azure. Directly, Snowflake has a direct. There is a concept called in Snowflake pipes. By using Snowflake pipes, you can connect with AWS. You can connect with Azure. You can dump Azure data into Snowflake. You can dump AWS data into Snowflake. But that is not part of this course. That is a separate course, Mr. Sushant. Snowflake is completely separate course. Okay, one more question here, Chandrasekhar. When data transformation happens, post data load, what if data sets corrupted during our operation? Azure keeps backup before data process itself. See here, there is a, for bulk volumes of data loading, Mr. Chandra, there is a concept called load data with a polybase. Polybase uses intermediary staging areas. For these staging areas, it will use data lake accounts. There it will be maintained. Okay. So all these things you don't worry in the single day. This is just an introductory session. Within the single day, you are asking the climax question. The question is actually invalid, but valid, but it's not right time to ask this. That is it. At the end, you will be learning all these techniques, not now. Okay, Chandra. Next, any questions? I'm waiting for your questions. But Chandra, one more point to remember for my above answer. That kind of staging is maintained only whenever I have used polybase for the synapse. Okay, for example, I am loading into the directly to the Cosmos DB, but I am not using polybase. Then, meanwhile, if any failure happened, nothing. Your source data is available, safely available in source only. But again, you have to trigger all the process. Meanwhile, if any failure happened, again, you have to rerun that entire load process. Okay, there is no staging area into this one. Okay, sir, all of you. Let's meet in tomorrow class. And also one more final thing about the commercials and all these things. Please speak with the management. The management operational guys will speak with you today. And tomorrow, please register to attend the 6th session. Okay, max to max tomorrow or day after tomorrow, you please finish up your registrations for this course. So completely the course will be going with smooth and with a very basic to and very advanced level. Okay. So that too, after 1 week, you will have to attend 2 batches, sir. I will tell you the timings. Maybe 7:15 to 8:15 one batch and 8:15 to 9:15 one batch, like that. Suppose in your batch synapse is going, after completion of the synapse, I will start ADF in this 8:15. Additional SQLs, Azure SQL or Azure Data Lake, you attend in another batch. On that way, try to attend 2 batches per day. Initial 1 week, just attend. First 1 week, coming 1 week, attend only one single batch. Next onwards, attend 2 batches. So that yearly max to max 30 to in 30 sessions in 30 days that you can complete your course if you attend 2 batches. Okay. And also like if it is only single session, a few things about Synapse, few things about ADF, few things about on that way the course will be continued. Okay. That will not help you. That's why go deeper into every component. Azure SQL means we see deeply about Azure SQL. Azure Synapse means we see deeply about Azure Synapse. Got it. Like that, we go with completely with ADF and analytics. Okay. Okay, all of you. Please complete your registrations with all these people. Sir Chandra, how about SQL classes? May I know how long it is? So SQL, I don't teach SQL. If it is SQL, there are separate classes by another faculty, another trainer, his name is Mr. Lakshmi Narayana. Okay, I will give you announcement of SQL. The SQL he will teach, but Azure SQL I will teach. But SQL queries, this part you just have to take care of it. I am not a SQL trainer. I don't teach such kind of basics. Only because I am a data engineer, only high level advancements only I will teach. SQL other trainer is there who doesn't know SQL. SQL separate batch will be there. But I am talking about Azure SQL, not core SQL. Okay. I am going to teach Azure SQL. Yes, Chandra, already I answered you about your basic SQL. Lakshmi Narayana will teach you, but I will announce you the timings and everything. I will ask him. Maybe within 1 or 2 days that he is going to start. Okay, sir, all of you. I'm going to stop the meeting. Let's meet tomorrow.